I'm Sheri.
And I'm Chris Big Stick.
And we are
Bourbon Besties.
Tonight, we're really excited because a friend of ours who is over on Gentlemen and Whiskey, if you're not following, you should, proposed a challenge for whiskey enthusiasts to talk about the 5 whiskeys that they think every whiskey enthusiast should have in their collection. Not a specific bottle, but a specific genre.
But you know what? I think we might go into specific bottles too. But first, watch this.
Welcome back. Cheers.
Cheers. Just want to give a quick shout out to my friends over at Hometown Ghost Stories for supplying me this beautiful rocks glass. If you like those kind of things, check them out on YouTube and their podcast, Hometown Ghost Stories.
All right, back to us. So, on Bourbon Besties, on this episode, we were inspired by our friend John over at Gentlemen and Whiskey, who created a challenge for whiskey enthusiasts to talk about the 5 whiskeys that every whiskey collector / enthusiast should have in their collection. Now, this is not necessarily a what are your top 5 bottles for these things. These are the categories in which you think you should have. So, some we agree with John.
Not all of them.
And some we don't. So, let's talk about what John's top 5 are to begin with. Me go, you go?
Sure, why not?
All right. So first, the memory bottle.
Then we have the cheap and versatile.
Rough Day.
The unicorn.
And then we have a craft whiskey. Now, we may not have done them in John's order, but those are the ones. So, here's the thing. When Chris and I looked at that and we listened to everything that John had to say, there was one of those categories that we emphatically both agree with. And here's a big shock. It's the one I inspired John to talk about. Now, maybe I had a little influence over Chris.
Maybe. Maybe.
Just a little. So we both agree that having a bottle that is a memory bottle, something that is a memory that you want to share, something that is not necessarily a bottle that is the bottle that you use as your unicorn bottle, if you will.
But it could be.
But it could be. It absolutely could be. It can just be a bottle that, whether it's the bottle you picked up and it's the memory of getting it that day, it's the bottle of, something that's very special to you. I'm going to talk about my memory bottle. So we did say we'll maybe talk about a specific bottle. Yes. So for me, my memory bottle is this bottle here. And that is Remus Repeal number 5. Now you'll notice that my bottle is sealed, which is unusual for me, but this bottle is very special to me. So when Chris and I first started dating, he reached out to the PA Bourbon Squad moderators and admins, and it was my birthday. And he said, is there a bottle that Sheri's looking for? What can I get her that she will really like and is really special? I didn't know that he even knew who the people were. And unbeknownst to me, he had found out a bottle that I really wanted and that I loved. So my very special memory bottle is the bottle where I knew that Chris had made friends with my friends and that he would do anything to make me happy. And that is my memory bottle.
Oh, that's so sweet.
I know.
We should get that guy on this show.
He's pretty cool.
Is he? He sounds it. Anyway. So my memory bottle is actually this bottle right here. The Jack Daniel's Sinatra. And this is because Sheri and I found this at a liquor store that we go to a lot. We bought this bottle, and this was a bottle that we decided to wait and drink until we got married. So this bottle sat on our shelf for 3 or 4 months before we even popped it. So now I think this bottle is actually, I think we're only going to pop it on our anniversary, which happens to be Halloween.
Unless a friend of ours is here and wants to try it. Because if nothing else, the thing you do the most with your besties is share.
Yes.
All right. So let's talk about the next bottles. And I think for some of these, we kind of agree with John. So I think that the next one that makes the most sense is what he calls the cheap and versatile bottle.
I agree.
I'm going to rename that bottle for my own personal list. And I'm going to call that, instead of the cheap and versatile bottle, my daily sipper bottle. I'm going to call it the bottle because that's the question people ask all the time. What's your daily sipper? And to me, that is typically a cheap and versatile bottle, but not necessarily the cheapiest of all bottles.
But the cheap and versatile bottle is also something that you don't mind having somebody kill it.
Absolutely.
And then because you're able to pick it up.
I agree with that.
Because I have daily sippers that you can't find. Like, they're kind of rare. So I had to go with something a little different because it has to be something that if somebody kills it, I can go out and buy one real quick. So,
I agree with that. All right. That's a valid point. So readily available daily sipper, aka the cheap and versatile bottle.
Yes.
For me, my pick for this is going to be good old Jim Beam Double Oaked. Now, this is a very, very affordable bottle, a very delicious bottle. We've put it in blinds against other much higher price bottles, and it has beat the snot out of them.
Me, I am going to go with the old reliable Old Forester 100, and is a great daily sipper.
Also a great bottle that you don't mind mixing, I would say.
Yes.
Both of these bottles to me are really great. Also cocktail bottles. I was very torn. I was really torn between this and Baby Saz because I love Baby Saz. But that one's tricky because a rye for me as a daily sipper I would never pick.
Yeah, we don't like ryes over here.
I love rye. Some I love, some I'm okay with. But I would never pick that as my daily. I have to be in the mood for a rye.
Right.
Okay.
So now we're going to go on to I believe it was the high proof, but what did John call it?
So John calls it the rough day bottle. Now, in his version of this, it's not necessarily a super high proof bottle. It's a bottle that's a little higher proof and you can crush because you had a bad day, I think is kind of how he described it. I feel like we disagree.
Yeah, I don't think it necessarily needs to be a rough day. I mean, it could be a rough day. It could be a bottle you drink on a rough day. It could be a bottle that you drink to celebrate a decent day, or hey, a little small win. So we just went with the high proof instead of I just want to forget this day. But let me be clear here. These bottles could make you forget the day, whether it was good or bad if you drink enough. I mean...
So to that point, what I would like to say is the reason that I don't like the rough day bottle is I don't want a bottle in my mind as a whiskey collector that I drink because I had a bad day. I want instead to think about things more of a sharing experience. So for me, and I think when Chris and I talked about it, our sort of motivation is a little bit different. We thought about this from the perspective of, okay, if I'm a whiskey collector and I'm a whiskey enthusiast, I want every bottle I'm going to lay out and every category I'm going to lay out to be, how am I going to share it? How am I going to share it with other people? So honestly, I don't want to share my rough day. I want to forget about it. But the thing I do want to share is if I've got a friend who loves high proof, I want to make sure I have a high proof bottle on my shelf. So I think for our third category, we're going to call it, you got to have a high proof bottle. You want to drink that on a rough day? Drink on a rough day. You want to just give it to your guy who loves high proof? You could just pour it for them. So for my pick, I am going to go with Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. Now this bottle happens to be the C923, but I have a stupid collection of them because I am an ECB fangirl.
Yes, she is.
I love them.
She is, and you'll learn she likes a lot more stuff.
I do.
But so that is a great bottle. It absolutely is. And if you watch the first episode, you kind of know where I'm going with my bottle. And we are going to go with, whoops, look at me, Stag. Can't go wrong with Stag. Can't go wrong with this is, what is this? This is the 18.
That's the 18, yeah.
This is the 18. This is 131 proof. This will make you forget any type of day. It might even make you forget your name if you drink enough of it. So my high proof is the Stag. Okay.
All right. So where it gets a little dicey again, we kind of agree with John. John said that you should have a unicorn bottle. Here's the thing I think about the unicorn bottle. For me, I think of a unicorn bottle as kind of having the connotation of like, that's a bottle people chase. That's a bottle that people are always looking for. And for a lot of people, that unicorn bottle is the bottle that, I'm going to use another one of, my friend John's favorite catchphrases that is my new favorite thing to say. It's a shelf trophy, right? A lot of people have unicorn bottles and they're not drinking them. And so I think as a whiskey enthusiast, you do need to have a bottle that maybe is a more exciting bottle, a bottle that maybe you're, proud of or whatever. But to me, it's got to definitely be a bottle you want to drink, that you don't want to look at. You want to drink it, you want to share it. So for me, I think that the category has to be a celebration bottle. This is the bottle you're going to drink to celebrate. You're going to celebrate with yourself. You're going to celebrate with the people that you love, with your friends, whatever it is. So similar to a unicorn bottle, and in the same vein, like, hey, maybe your bottle is that Blanton's that you found or the Eagle Rare that you happen to hit drop day on in the state of wherever you happen to live. There's nothing wrong with that. To me, it's whatever bottle you're going to use for that really, like when you pick up your glass and you're like, cheers. and you are so stoked about the glass that you have and the whiskey that's inside of it and the people that you're with. I think the celebration bottle.
Right. Which could be a unicorn bottle. We're not. My unicorn bottle was actually my high proof bottle. But they're interchangeable. But yes, we don't think that the unicorn bottle is a must-have per se. We do think that a celebration bottle is in order. So do you want to?
I do. So the story of my celebration bottle. So Chris and I do a fundraiser every year, and this year we raised a astonishing amount of money for a charity, and I'm very, very proud of that. But when it was all said and done, a friend of ours heard me say on a live video that we did about that charity that when it was all said and done, I don't really keep a lot of bottles to crack. We didn't have a bottle just sitting here. And she said to me, you need a bottle to celebrate. And so she gifted me this Maker's Mark Cellar Aged as my celebration for that. And right now, this is my celebration bottle. This is the bottle that we will celebrate whatever comes next and all the things we're really excited about. And so for me, this is my celebration bottle.
I mean, I think between that one and mine, which I'm going to show you right now, the Joseph Magnus cigar blend. This was the first cigar blend that, actually, I think this is the first Joseph Magnus I ever had. And let me tell you, this is damn good. So there's not really a big celebration behind this bottle, just that we've cracked this a few times, some parties, her birthday, my birthday. We've cracked this with friends who really loved it. I mean, so this is more of, I would say, like a celebration of friendship.
I would say that this is where it gets a little interesting for us, because in John's list now, there is one bottle that I agree with, because he said something that really struck a chord with me. Now, the truth is, when I first saw the list, I was like, absolutely not. I would replace that. And then when I listened, he made some really great points about it. So for me, I'm going to keep that craft whiskey. I think you have to have a craft distiller, and here's why. I think that as a whiskey enthusiast, depending on where you are in your journey and also what you want to share with people, you should have something that isn't a legacy distillery. You should have something that's unique and is special. But I think craft distillery makes the cut. I'm leaving it on the list. I have a craft distillery pick. I'm going to share that with you now. I love Starlight. I'm a big Starlight fan as well. This happens to be a store pick. And this happens to be a great brandy finish, which I also absolutely adore, a finish barrel. So I think you got to keep that. You got to have something unique and special. Chris and I kind of are in agreement about this, but he's going to swap it out because he thinks there's something else that you need that's more important.
I do. And I mean, I agree with you about the craft to a point. So the craft distillers, okay, I love 2XO. Get yourself a bottle of any of it. It's really good. But with me, I wanted to go with a gateway bottle. Something that would get you, that you would share with somebody who was trying to get into bourbon, whiskey, whatever. Something that you would share with them that would hook them. You want to sink your hook in and
bait them.
Yes. So with me, if you guys watched the first episode, I talked about Knob Creek 9. And quite honestly, that's the one, and I'm going to grab it. Look, extreme close up. The Knob Creek 9. This would be my gateway bottle. And I think we talk about bourbon and we talk about how it is important for us to be able to share our collection, our bottles with friends. So if you're going to share with friends, you got to have a gateway bottle. You got to be able to bring them in. And I think the Knob Creek 9 does that.
So the idea of a bottle that you have to have on your shelf for that friend who maybe doesn't love it, I think is also a great bottle. Mm-hmm. So I have the list, so our list that we're in agreement about, you have to have a memory bottle. You have to have a daily sipper bottle. You have to have a high proof bottle. You have to have a celebration bottle. We agree on those 4. I think you got to have a craft whiskey.
I think you need to have a gateway.
And so we have 6. We leave it to you guys. Which one stays and which one goes? Love to hear from you in the comments about which one of our lists is the one that you think should be the top 5. And
or do you think one of the ones that we agree on needs to go and something else needs to go in its place?
Oh my God, I didn't even think of that. I just assumed we were right.
I mean, we are, but
he brings up a great point. So which 5 do you think are the 5 that stay? We'd love to hear about it from the comments. Speaking of which, if you enjoyed this video and you had fun watching Chris and I banter back and forth a bit, we would love if you would like and comment and subscribe.
And with that,
we
are
Bourbon Besties.
And also click that notification bell so you can get the very first notification when we post again. Because you want to see these faces, don't you? But with that, do you have anything else you need to add?
I don't think so. That was aggressive.
Was it?
A little bit.
Oh, so please click on that bell. Is that better?
It was.
Okay, so there we go.
I may leave that in.
You may leave that in. I bet you will.
Ready? Let's do it again.
All right.
If there was a whole reel of outtakes, we'd have hours of it.